Okay, hey you guys, friends, members of the ETS, you guys get it. Let's talk about something that's a little near and dear to my heart, and something that for some reason I feel the need to bring up now, even though I typically wouldn't give people an advantage over me inherently in a fight. But there's some stuff I feel we should discuss just so, it's out there in the open. Um, I have been referred to as OP in a sense, busted, the godmother kind of person, and that's not really the case with me, like at all. It's more along the lines of I have some abilities that work well. That being said, they are tied to several forms of limits. So, for instance, I got two different stances based on the wind. I have the sharp wind and I have the loose wind, or the free wind, so to speak. When I'm in my free wind stance, you know, my quills loosen up, so as my hair, my body relaxes, and I'm able to just kind of move with everything. Yeah, it makes me really good at dodging, and I basically feel light as air, weightless. I can use it to enhance my jumping, so I could go further. I can even cushion my blows if I were to fall and hit the ground, or if I were to miss something. Kind of like think of like a feather fall from Dungeons and Dragons. Now that being said, at the same time with that, um, that's one thing. Okay, simple, straightforward. It's more of a defensive fighting stance than anything else. Which you could say it's magic, and you would somewhat kind of be right, but not really. It's more of a mindset in ties to our spiritual energy. So maybe it is wind magic. Who knows? But there's the other version, which is the sharp wind, which is, everything seems to get tenser. My quill's tying up, kind of like a porcupine, which is funny because I'm a hedgehog. And, same thing. Everything feels slicker, tighter, more like, what's the word? I guess you could say sharper. I get if your body feels kind of prickly while you're doing it, almost like a cactus. When I do that, everything is more focused, condensed, pressurized. I'm able to use it to slice open containers or even cut through weapons if I wanted to. Like, obviously, I can't cut through everything, but I'm able to shoot out slashes of wind or even slice through it with my hand directly and break through certain metals. Like, obviously, I'm not gonna try anything stupid like try to go against a sharp blade. I'm pretty sure I would lose my fingers doing that. But I don't know. I'm curious about it. Not that fucking curious though. I don't want to risk losing my fingers. I have much needed use of these. That being said, yeah, it's more of an offensive thing. I don't have to worry about dodging when I'm just slicing things out of the air. And again, same thing. It helps me move. It helps me move quicker, and also I can use it to like, what? Not like vacuum seal people, but kind of just like adjust the air around them. I can pull people towards me, push them away a little bit, throw off their stance. Obviously, the heavier they are, the harder that is to do. So if I find someone around my build, yeah, I can move. I can kind of make them dance for me a little bit. If I find someone like Typhon, a little bit trickier. If I were to go against someone like Mohambu, that's going to take some effort. And even then, I probably wouldn't be able to move him if he stood his ground. Like the heavier things are way harder to move. Like don't expect me to be lifting buses off the ground. That's what Boo's for. Now the trick with both stances is two things. One, you have to focus on the stance that you're using. I can't just jump back and forth between them at will. I have to be concentrating on one at a time. Like technically I could fall out of one stance into another one, but I have to but that's more along the lines of me choosing to consciously do that. I can't just it doesn't just instinctively happen or instinctually. And two, which is a big one, I have to focus my breathing because they are very different in terms of like how you're supposed to react with them. For instance, with the free wind stance, you're supposed to be focused and as relaxed as humanly possible. I'm not saying you can't be like upset or angry when you're fighting someone. No, that's not what I'm saying. It's not like a righteous fury, but your body has to be as relaxed as it can be, and also you have to be consistent with your breathing. So if your heart is pounding or your emotions are running hot, it's going to be really, really hard to focus. And as such, your breathing becomes irregular and you can immediately fall out of the form. It's supposed to be perfect, like you become one with everything around you, kind of like, stillness, like a monk or something. But that's the thing, that one is harder to maintain because you're literally trying to be as unbothered by everything as possible. Because the idea is you're supposed to, kind of like how a leaf just gets blown with the wind, but that's just because it's light. Same thing, if you're a heavier set, it's not as easy for you to do, but it's still possible. I'm not saying there's a weight limit to this stance, but it helps to just kind of like go with everything. And with the sharp wind stance specifically, you have to be consistently, like your breathing has to be tight, your movements have to be swift, and you can't, like, you have to be like, what's like, you basically have to be rigid in a sense. You can't let your body falter in the slightest. Your mindset has to be sharp, and you basically have to be going 110% and pushing yourself to move in that stance for as long as possible. Your breathing has to be quick with it too, just like all over the place with it, like just fast. And the problem with that is one, your body's going to be, if you're in the middle of combat, that's going to be tricky to maintain and move around with, which is why it's best for one-on-one fights and not groups, because there's too many things going on at once. Your senses can get overloaded and you can mess up. I've never seen masters of it. I've only ever seen like what my father would teach me with it. But if the way he describes it, he makes it seem like these people can cut through mountains and just fly, which is nuts. Which I mean, I know that sounds silly considering I can technically fly in my super form, but like you get what I'm saying. Mm, some good coffee. And obviously, I know the fallback is like, oh, okay, so you can essentially cut through almost anything and you're essentially untouchable. It's like yes and no. It's again, these forms are supposed to be done in bursts or in like tandem with one another, allegedly. Haven't been able to do it too easily myself. If I'm doing one, it's hard for me to just jump to the other. Not impossible, but it takes time. And like I said, it's best for one-on-one fights because I'm not going to be doing all that while I'm like dealing with multiple things. And again, just because I can dodge stuff better doesn't mean I'm necessarily faster. Like, yeah, my reflexes are still sharp, but I'm not just going to be weaving multiple bullet rounds point blank or whatever. Like, it's not easy. It's not a good look. So yeah, that's kind of the downsides to those. Is just the constant upkeep that comes with it. And obviously the thing when it comes to it is like, okay, well, what about your weapons? Like your gauntlets are like a Batman's utility belt. I can say that because of the DC crossover event with Sonic. But yeah, he they are very the gauntlets themselves are very limited. Okay, like yeah, they're strong, they're sturdy, they have a lot of different features in it, but you can only put so many features into one gauntlet. The ones I use, for instance, typically, like one, I just use them to enhance my strikes, and they have grapple lines attached to them. Outside of that, occasionally I'll mix it up and have some additional things like smoke bombs, flashbangs. Same thing though, if I actually do get shot at, I can use the gauntlets to block bullets, but that would also potentially damage the gauntlets. Now, Boo has made some advancements with some of the medium to large ones. Like you could throw down energy shields and a whole bunch of other stuff that comes with them. It's actually impressive tech. I don't use those. I like my mobility, and the heavier the set, the slower I move. And unless I'm trying to actually put a beat down on somebody bigger and bulkier than me, I don't need the big ones. That's not me. Boo can wear them just fine and suffer no penalties to her armor set, but she's also freakishly strong, whereas I am not. I'm just incredibly handsome. And then yeah, same in regards to like my other weapons, like I have my retractable staff. I do occasionally pick up blades, but I don't really use them like I'm not lethal like that typically. I don't like putting people down for the count permanently, so don't bother with them. I can use shields, I can use swords, but unless I'm fighting machines, I don't typically mess with them. There's a jack o' lantern. I'll tell that story later, but clown robots. Let me just say that. Jester clown robots with blades. Not fun. And then obviously here comes the idea of like, oh well, you can go into a super form. You can fly. You're invulnerable with it. Da, da, da. It's like, I mean, yeah, technically I can, but one, I can't do it all the time. I'm not as proficient with it as like Sonic or Shadow or Silver would be. Two, I can only do it for a very short time, like maybe 20, 30 seconds. Like that's the whole point of me training to use it more is just so I can use it for longer. And yeah, I've taken people flying with it before, but that's also because me moving in the form is not that bad. It's not that strenuous on my, I guess you could say, energy supply. I'm just moving, not dashing with it, not going supersonic speeds, and I'm not fighting in it usually. So I can kind of stretch it around a little bit here and there. But again, the more energy of it I use, the faster I burn through it. And once I'm done using it, yeah, I might not be physically harmed after once, because that is something I've noticed. I return to the like perfect condition, I guess, after I drop out of my super form. So any damage I took is gone, so it's a free heal. But it doesn't necessarily return my energy to me. Like after I fall out of the form, I'm basically done for the day, or I'm just exhausted. So yeah, that's why it's like a thing of like, okay, if I don't want to run on fumes, I'm gonna finish this fight like right now. I use it, finish the fight, done, collapse afterwards because yeah, I'm not necessarily hurt anymore, but it's like no gas left in the tank. You get me? And don't get it twisted. I've seen plenty of what you would call overpowered people before. I've actually dealt with a few of them here and there. There was one time I'll never forget it. I was just kind of prowling around the rooftop, overlooking my city. You know how it goes. Just see it from a different perspective, different set of lights, that kind of thing. And someone did that whole, spooky Batman kind of thing where they just sneak up on you. And while I'm enjoying life, he kind of just pops up behind me and goes like, "Who are you? Look here, scum." And I'm just like, "Do I know you?" And obviously, it's like the guy's super edgy and super powerful and just ooh. And I was just like, "Man, if you don't get away from me, I'm gonna crack you upside the head." So he taunted me. So I was like, "Oh, okay. Let's see how you like this." So I hit him. Dude didn't flinch. So I was like, oh, "Okay." So he knocks me off the building, and I was like, "All right, dude's a bit sturdier than I thought he was." So I used my staff, hit him with it, and somehow my staff broke on him. So I was like, "Oh, okay, that's going to be a bit of an issue." And he basically kept trying to, he kept no diffing my stuff. So I was like, "Oh, okay. How are we going to do this?" Then some of Eggman's robots popped up, but they were a bit different. They were very like they were more advanced than the usual models. They had like tracking. They could memorize people's moves, and they were impact resistant. Like you try to punch through them, and it would just shift the force around them, and they would reuse the energy to power themselves up, like kinetic energy, which I thought was crazy. So the guy started hitting them, and then they started tracking him. And at first he broke through the first one. Then he started trying to break through the second one. And when that didn't work, because I explained what was going on when I scanned them. Also, yeah, my gauntlets can scan stuff. It's a feature they have. So yeah, he was a very so he pulled out like these weird energy swords and constructs, and he just had every superpower, it would seem. Go figure. So he tore through them afterwards, and I was like, okay, well, I'm done dealing with you. I'm gonna go see Boo. And then I guess he tried to like sneak follow me after a while, but I mean, here's the thing: when you try your hardest to be the biggest person in the room, it's kind of hard for you to blend in because then I can just kind of look at you and go like, dude, I know you're there. Like I can see you trying to be inconspicuous, and let's be real, the guy stood out like a sore thumb in this city. So yeah, it was pretty, pretty easy to figure that part out. But yeah, the guy essentially was getting shot at with rockets and missiles. And don't get me wrong, I've seen other people fight these robots and come out virtually unscathed. But this man made it seem like nothing you did could hurt him. He had every ability under the sun. He was just like on a whole different tier of strength, which is not something I'm used to, but it was interesting for all of 5 seconds before I realized this man had a personality like sandpaper. But that was neither here nor there. I was gonna go see Boo anyways because one, I had to get the gauntlets looked at because it was a little bit odd that they seemed to take damage and he didn't. Which, don't get me wrong, I can understand the idea of something being sturdier than these gauntlets, but these are Boo's babies, and she gets really, really defensive about them, and I bullshit you not. She would kill me if I brought them back broken, especially if I didn't say why they were broken. So I went down to her apartment, popped in and said, hey, she was kind of just, I guess, lounging about in her underwear with her t shirt on, like a lazy Sunday kind of thing for her. And I was like, all right, cool. How's it going? And before you guys ask, platonic. Just look at her like a little sister, one that I actually like. So, yeah, that is neither here nor there for me. But it wasn't with the guy that was following me. But she wasn't having any of that from me when she saw me, so she took the gauntlets and everything and started essentially going to go tweak them. And then the guy popped up at her window, and she was immediately about to just take her whole couch and just shove it at him. Well, I say shove, that's a lie. She was going to essentially throw it at him and knock him out of her window. When I explained what was going on, she just put it off to the side, and this dude immediately started simping for her. I don't know why. I'm not 100% sure as to what caused it, but that man was just kind of over the moon for her, and I was just sitting there like, dude, are you serious? Whatever. Well, while you do that, I'm gonna get something to drink. And obviously, once Boo got my gauntlets fixed up, I went about my business, and then went to go check on a few other people of our gang to make sure that the robots didn't just go after them too. Because Boo said she hadn't seen them all day, so maybe it was just a weird one and done scenario. Everyone else seemed to be okay though. Lottie was alright. Mary was fine. Haven't heard from Rexius in a while. I'm not gonna ask Cuban. Boo would kill me for that one. And then, what else was there? Ah, right. Neos and Rudanzen. Have to check with them later too. We, but never did see that guy again. He was very well. He isn't. Actually, no, that's a lie. He isn't even the first person I've heard of in that kind of scenario who's just seemed unbreakable or untouchable. Blue had a story like that one time where she came across some kind of weird shadow guy. He controlled shadows, or he was like a shadow person. She could tell the story better than I could.